Perfect. Okay, so now we can go ahead and get started and talk about listings. So I figured that now would be a good time, especially in lieu of this NAR lawsuit. I know a lot of people are freaked out. For me, I guess I'm not as worried about it. I really don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think the media is sensationalizing it. But in lieu of that, I think it's going to be more important than anything for us to get listings, because I think at the beginning, when everything kind of takes place in the summertime, I think what's going to happen is a lot of buyers may assume, number one, that they're not paying for agents. I mean, we already know that they're usually budget tight and constrained by down payments and closing costs. So obviously, it's going to work itself out. I do think sellers will continue to offer compensation. It just will be done a little bit differently. But in the event that they're not, it's important for us to really get those listings, because I foresee a lot of dual agency, which I don't really like. But I also foresee that listings is really going to be our power move, I guess, for real estate agents. So I wanted to share because I started trying a few strategies that we've talked about on Work It Wednesday. And this month alone, I've signed 5 listings. I have 2 currently active right now, and I have 1 going live tomorrow and 2 more going live in April. So for some reason, this strategy has worked, and I thought it's a great opportunity to just kind of share out and all of us kind of collaborate on strategies that we use. But I also am sending an entire guide with template links, and you know how I do. So you'll get that as well afterwards. Is there anyone here that right now is struggling to get listings in general? Okay. And so would you say that most of you are higher on the buyers right now? You guys are quiet.
I'm low on everything right
Okay,
now.
that's fair.
Same.
But the market's just started picking up. So I do foresee that being better anyway. So anybody here have a balance between listings and buy sides?
I have a balance, but it's not on purpose.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
I
So
just, yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of how it's been with me. Is I've always been more buyer heavy, always wanted those listings. But honestly, like, to have the 5 listings in 30 days signed or on the market, to me is definitely different than the usual. And I've only changed a few things. I just wanted to kind of go through it. And then during it, I just want to ask questions and find out what everyone else is doing. So I'm going to share my screen first, and we're going to start that way. And I'm not going to read this to you because I'm going to give it to you all. But let me go ahead and share my screen. All right. Let me just put this on present real quick. All right, so let's talk about listings. Obviously, listings is where we want to be. Let me move this over. So I wanted to talk, number one, about sphere of influence. I was so sick of hearing this, but I just wanted to give you guys some tech starts that I use with past clients, my friends, my family. And so I just wanted to briefly let you see some of those, and you'll get this. But a lot of what I say is basically like, hey, how's it going? Do you know of anyone that's looking to buy or sell real estate? Because I'd be happy to connect. And others, like, literally just say, if you know anyone considering selling, I'd appreciate referrals or introductions. I've gotten a lot of responses from that. And it's just a good way to kind of make sure you're reaching out, because friends and family, believe it or not, when they hear of people thinking about listing, their first thought is not you. It should be, but it's not always. So I would definitely continue with that. Obviously, the networking, which the purpose of today is not to go over that, but if you're not a part of some local community groups, then I think that you're missing out as far as doing charity events, or, if you have a dinner meetup group or professionals meetup group, just a good way to get to know people and share your information, obviously. Now, something else that I do online, because obviously we all talk about online, but the biggest things that has helped me in the last 30 days specifically is in my email campaigns to sellers specifically. I've been giving them a lot of free guides. So this is just an example of something that I give out. I have this on my YouTube in my link, and I also share it out in emails to my group. I let them know that, listen, whether you're ready to sell right now or in the future, I'd love to get you a free seller guide, a step-by-step guide to our area. And I'd also like to offer you just a free CMA report. I get a lot of responses from that. Obviously, creating posts of value, the number one for me is when I give them some statistics and have some sort of data or graph. It's very helpful. I'm not asking for anything. I'm more just putting it out there, and people really respond well to that content. And then, of course, creating squeeze pages. So Facebook's cracked down a lot on your use of links. So what I kind of do is I put it in the comments. I might take a picture, a photo, and talk about, here's a list of the homes that have 2-car garage that are under 400,000 in this area. And then I put see link in the comments, and I put it in the comments. It doesn't seem to be blocked as much in social media. So consider that way to kind of get around that Facebook is not showing posts with links that go outside of Facebook area. Now, we've talked about this before. So for me, I have a few lead generation strategies, and I'll tell you what's really working well for me now. But my two big lead generation strategies is Upnest, which Upnest is with realtor.com. It is free, but I do pay for it. So they have a premium version, which is called Selling List Toolkit. And what it does is it kind of features makes your, I guess, featured branding more prominent. They show it to more people, and I have seen a heck of an increase. Out of these 5, I have 2 of these leads are from Street Text. 2 of them are from realtor.com, and 1 of them is from a past client that I got from Street Text. So when I use Street Text, this is the most popular ad that I'm using. Basically, it's saying, are you looking to downsize your current home? I like this because it targets sellers and buyers. A lot of times people, before they think of selling their home, will think about buying. So I basically have this. And if you don't have Street Text, I just put the link here for a free trial. If you want it, you get like a week free. So try it. This is what my Upnest looks like. So like I said, I now pay to be featured. This is just my sellers. So I have equally as many buyers. Now, I shaded out their address and sensitive information, obviously, but these are the 2 that right now are listed. This is the one that I just got signed. This price point, we listed it for $1,050,000, and Janine's property is going to be listed at $725,000. So great price points. Now, these other folks, I'm currently right now trying to win them over, which we'll talk about, but great leads. And if you're doing this free, is anyone here doing Upnest for free right now?
I am.
How do you feel about it for the free version?
I think I'm doing the free version. I'm not getting anything good at all.
Okay. So you're not getting buyers or seller leads?
Once in a while, but once they give them to me, they don't ever answer the phone. They won't connect with me, nothing.
I gotcha. Yeah, a lot of these actually, Janine, who I actually just got her listing, she never responded to me. I have a group of texts from her, and I sent her the CMA. I sent her information. I followed up with her, and about 3 weeks after she told me she was interviewing multiple agents, I let it go. And so then I followed back up because I went back to my dashboard. Oops, I looked up her address and I noticed that it wasn't listed. So I used a strategy I'm going to share with you later. A does it make sense text. Sorry, I'm coughing. Fine all morning until I get on here and talk. But so I'll share how I finally got her to re-engage. And it's something we've talked about on this Work It Wednesday as well. Here's the street text that I use. So this is what the ad kind of looks like. And you'll see that my budget is $7 a day for this ad, which is very inexpensive. And I'm currently getting a lead. It fluctuates between $4 a lead and $5.42. This shows you the total leads I've gotten. 33 of them are returned leads. So with street text, it allows you to remarket to your current list of leads. So essentially, you show up all over their feed all the time. And I've gotten a lot of business here. And this is the text that I send out when I first get them, if you guys can see it. So this kind of prompts a response. That's all I'm trying to do. I think that my biggest change in the last 2 months has been that I stopped sending really, really, really long texts. And so here I'm just trying to get an answer if they got something or not. If they respond, then I basically use that strategy that I'm going to share with you. Does it make sense to hop on a quick call? If there's no response, I send the same message by email, and then I text them back. Are you looking to purchase a one-story home? That way they can say, yeah, I was just browsing, I'm not interested, or yes, I am looking, and then I can re-engage.
Jenifer,
Yes.
I have a quick question about that screen you were on. Do you send this directly out of street text or do you send it from your mobile?
I send it from my mobile. I've tried other ways. KV Core has a texting, I guess, app or whatever. I hate it because it says, press stop to unsubscribe. And I think you lose all credit. So this is a personal touch. Yeah.
I have more unsubscribe. So I just started with street text
Uh-huh.
about a month ago, remember? And yeah, sending them through KV Core, almost all of them hit stop right away.
100%. 100%. And that's why I stopped doing it. Now, I do not send this mass text to a bunch of people at once. It's kind of like Facebook. You add too many people as a friend or you request too many friends, it triggers spam. My phone has been blocked before. I had to call and figure out what was going on. And it's because I was sending out too many of the same messages. So they blocked me for like 2 hours. All right. So obviously other sources that I get listings, this has been great. So I started a new YouTube channel. I think I told you guys this. I have one for agents, but I've made one specifically for my clients. And I took the advice of Jacob Shireman. I made a video about Raleigh, North Carolina, what it's like to live there, prices, marketability, why people move here. And I sent this out on YouTube. I shared it on Facebook. But more importantly, in KV Core, I made a blog. And I attached this video to the blog, and I've had hundreds and hundreds of views. So that's definitely helping me. The postcards, I think, I don't like sending postcards cold, but you can. So what I do is for my leads that have already reached out on another ad or through a realtor or any other way, I like to send them this if I haven't heard from them or a few months have passed or a year has passed. I send this out to my database. So they're already warm. They may already recognize me and my branding, but I try to get them to use a QR code so I can get them a home CMA report. And you guys know that I also use Mailbox Power. This is the link right here if you don't know what that is, and you can kind of explore it. But I think it's a very good addition to other strategies. And then we've talked about this. This is the circle prospecting and farming using NAR/RPR. This is a great way. So if you want to, let's say you had a home that sold in a neighborhood, you should be sending out something that says, hey, I just sold your neighbor's house. If you're thinking about selling, reach out, I'll provide you a free whatever. And I would send them out postcards too, but you can get your lists right in here. So obviously, okay, so let's talk about winning listings, okay? We know that we do all these things, right? You got to establish your credibility, you're providing free value. So I just wanted to outline what I do because I know, especially on our team, we talk a lot about how we do things, what feels natural for us. And you guys all have different personalities, but it should feel you should feel at ease when you go into a listing appointment. Like for me, I no longer even get nervous. I get more nervous whether or not they'll like me, like not so much about what I'm offering, because if we just look at it, and I don't mean to say that we all do the same thing, but if you look at it, a good agent, all of them are doing the same thing. So it's more about you and your likability and having that separate value add-on that maybe separates you from all the other people they've spoken to. All right, so something that I do is for all of my seller leads, I make sure I continue to ask and provide them a free valuation. I gave this example again for those of you not using Core Presents. I would definitely send it out. So one of the important things that I want to share with you, and this is something that I learned on my own. I was always taught that you can give it by PDF, your CMA report. And I know that other people like Wendy does a great job. She likes to send it all to their door. It's like a CMA package. I don't like that for me, because what I have found, and I had something that specifically happened to one of my potential clients. It was a for sale by owner who told me they were looking to list. They wanted me to provide them a CMA report. I came over to the house, provided them the CMA report because we happened to be neighbors. And while I was there, they had the CMA report. I left, no lie, guys. The next day, they changed the price to exactly what I had said, and they were advertising the comps that I had just given. So never again, when you give a CMA report, I never give them something in paper or by email that lasts forever. So what do you send? Well, there's a few things. If you're not using EXP, okay, if you don't have EXP and you're not using KB Core, then there's another way to do this. If you are with a different brokerage or you don't have Core Present, or you basically just want to send a CMA report you build off MLS, you need to send it by Google Drive, because with Google Drive, you have control over who has access. So you can provide them access, and you can at the same time restrict their access at any time. So let me give you another specific example. I have, there's a home in my neighborhood. I live off a street of a very expensive neighborhood, right? So on this other street, this lady who was also doing it for sale by owner and not a very good job at it, had been connecting with me, talking. I've seen the house. I gave her the CMA report. And then I connected with her and I said, does it make sense now to kind of do the listing paperwork? Let's get your home listed. She says, no, I think I'm going to continue for sale by owner right now. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll check in with you later. As soon as we got off, I went to my Core Present and I canceled the presentation so that she could no longer access it. Do you know, within 10 minutes, I get an email from her. Hey, by the way, I was just looking for the CMA report that you sent to me and I can't find it. So I was like, okay. I told her, oh, I'm so sorry. You told me you weren't going to list it. And she said, yes, I'm going to do for sale by owner, but can you resend that CMA report? And I said, oh, unfortunately, I'm so sorry. Like that's restricted to, if I'm working with a client and, they're utilizing me or thinking about potentially listing the property. And she asked 2 more times for it. I never gave it back to her. And I was polite about it, but that is a winning strategy because they will use your information and then they have it. They can compare you to other realtors. They can show it to other agents. They can decide to list for more money or whatever. So I would not do it. Who here has not seen a Core Present presentation? If you'll just raise your hand. Okay, so everyone has seen it. I have a link to mine right here. Crystal, you have a question?
I've never seen one.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and show you just really quickly, but I just wanted to show you the layout of what it looks like. And again, when I share this with you, you'll have access to it and you can go through everything. I won't restrict your access, I promise. All right, so this is kind of what it looks like. So when they get a core present, they have the picture of their house, they have your information. It shows where you got the comps from. It shows the comps, they can interact on it, see what it looks like, compare their house to it. And that's very good because it allows them to see if their house is in better condition, not as good condition. But it lets them look inside, which I'm having trouble. Oh, here's the pictures. But they can kind of browse through it. Then on the next page, you see where it says where I suggest that we list it for. And then it shows them just some stats about the market area, how fast things are selling. It shows them if they're in a hot buyer's area or not, which is a good way to kind of show them, you know, days on market, what they could expect. Information about yourself. And it allows them to see their net sheet if they've given you information about, you know, how much they owe. That way, everything's very transparent. They see everything right here. And then they have a choice if they want to get started or if they need more time. So that's a really good strategy. So then another thing, a way to establish credibility. Okay, as we're building up to that listing appointment, every single seller lead that you get into your database, the first thing that you should do, nobody should have nothing going on. I've said this a lot of times, but with sellers specifically, market reports are the best way for them to get interest and see houses selling in their area, what the price point is. So I go into my CRM, every CRM probably has this capability, and I set them up on a market report for their zip code every month. Now, I also do active campaigns, right? Your seller campaign, your buyer campaign, whatever it is. And I send them the core present that I just showed you. Now, I can take that away at any time. If I feel like, you know, it's been a while, I go ahead and just, I stop access after, you know, about 3 weeks, unless they tell me they're going to interview other agents, I remove it immediately. And that way, when I'm there, I can show them. But I don't want it to be compared or used for any other purpose than for my skill set, showing them what the comps are. Now,
If
yeah.
Can you edit a core present? Like, let's say you did it first and then like a month has passed and you're thinking like, okay, maybe we need new comps for it or something like that.
Yeah, so you go to corepresent.com. It'll pull up all of your presentations, and next to the address, so you just type in the address or the name of the person, it'll find it. And then there's a button there that says update. And when you go and update, you can adjust the comps or any part of the presentation and send it back out. So, and what's cool is it'll use the same link. So if they have the link already, they'll see the updated ones. All right, so here's some other tech starts I use, and then I'm going to talk to you about why it's been beneficial. And you'll see a lot of, does it make sense? So if I try calling someone and they don't answer and it's a seller lead, I text them and I say, does it make sense to discuss next steps for listing your home? That prompts a response. I get a big response from that. Now, this is for buyers, but I just threw it in here. So if someone's been exploring homes on your website, but you haven't really chatted with them, this is what I send for that. And you can see all these examples. If they've reached out because they want a CMA report, this is kind of what I say. Like, you know, I'm doing your CMA report for 123 ABC Street per your request. Any updates or repair items that I should know that may affect your home worth. If they respond, I then at that time say, thanks for the information. I want to confirm your email address. Is this correct? Because I'm not trying to sell myself right now. I want to get them what they asked for without asking anything else of them or to try to sell them. Now, this is the strategy really, I think, that has changed my game with responding back. And I just wanted you to watch it one more time. I've shown this before, but this to me really made an impact on what I'm doing every day now when I respond and I'm sending out text messages. So let me zoom in on this.
All right, terrific question. What do I say instead of I wanted to follow up? Let me tell you, but before I do, let's talk a little bit more about those words follow up and why they're so bad. The F word. I'm just following up. I'm just checking in. Number one, your credibility and authority goes way down. You sound weak. You sound like you just want to get the sale. Here's the other thing that no other sales coach talks about. When I use the words I'm just following up, I'm establishing that our relationship is this. I'm going to continue to call you, email you, follow up with you until you feel like answering the phones. Literally, by us using the words I follow up, we're stating that our relationship is I'm going to do this behavior until you want to engage with me. Okay, so let's knock out follow up. So to your question, what do I say instead of? It's quite simple. There's a statement that you can make that's going to drive your deals either forward or to a close without you sounding pushy, without you sounding manipulative, and raising your level of credibility and authority. And that statement is this: does it make sense to blank? Hey, Bob, Matt Easton, founder of Easton University, calling to see if it makes sense to get your team on board with the sales coaching. Hey, Susan, Matt Easton with Easton University, calling to see if it makes sense to activate your membership. When you ask the person if it makes sense, you're not asking them to do anything. You're not being manipulative.
That to me was a game changer. And I'm not lying to you. I use that except for my past client's family member, right? Because that was kind of sealed in the bag. That was a good one. But for all the other 4 listings that I got, I use this strategy, and all of them I got a response from. So either we had been connected and they've been kind of quiet, or whatever, they haven't really made a decision on what to do. All of them was like this. Does it make sense at this time to discuss next steps for listing your home? Does it make sense to get your home listed on the market this spring? That drove response. And when I thought about it, I thought that's exactly right. We're putting ourselves in a position like we are waiting for them to do something and that they have all the power. So when I phrase it like this, I felt too that I was basically saying I didn't care what outcome we had. I wanted to know from them if it makes sense or not. Have you guys tried this, or how many of you do the I'm checking in, I'm following up? Because I went back through all of my texts were like that. Has everybody else been doing that too? Yeah. Okay. I had the same problem. And when I went back, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm establishing with them, that they're in control. They'll let me know when they want to talk because I'll just keep reaching out. And this has changed it all. Like if one thing from today's conversation, I want everyone to try this with a text or, with someone that hasn't been communicative, try this. Does it make sense to talk about the next steps for getting your home on the market? Does it make sense to actually show you the buying process so we can take the next step and get started? But I want everyone to try that. This to me was a game changer. Had you guys watched that before? I know I shared it, but I didn't know. Okay, so you'll see that. But man, that was an eye opener for me. All right.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh gosh, you're so welcome.
So I have a quick question about how you send those texts out. Sorry. Is it, do you type the text or use a short key or something and it's already got your picture in there?
Oh, good question. So what I do is, first of all, I have a Mac. I don't know what you guys have, but wherever you can keep notes on your computer, I have a note that says text starts. And so all I have to do is change their name or whatever. But what I did was in Canva is where I built my business card. So all I did was I screenshot my business card and I kept it like on my computer. And so in my notes section on my computer, I have all the text starts for buyers, sellers, downsizers, like I have them sorted. And then underneath each text, I put an image of my business card. And that way, and I don't send that more than once. I send it at first. And then after that, I just follow up Jenifer Salter, eXp Realty or whatever. But save all of your text starts so you don't have to keep typing them out. All I have to do is either change the address or change the person's name. So let's go ahead. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so now let's talk about the winning the listing. Okay, so what do we do from here? So I show you how to create a Gmail template. I use them for several things because we as realtors send the same emails over and over. Oh, it's photo day. Here's what to expect. Oh, your house is about to go live on the market. Here's what to expect. So I have templates set up and I show you how to do it. If you don't know how to make a Gmail template, it's free, it's easy, and that way you don't have to keep writing the same email. This is my pre-listing email. So once I've spoken to them, you can adjust this meeting tomorrow or next week or today. But before I go over to anybody's house, I tell them I'm going to send you an important email. I need you to watch the video and read through the pre-listing packet template or link. And so they all agree to do that, but I won't go over until that's been done because my style is based off this template. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. But this is the video I send with this email. Hi, looking forward to our upcoming listing appointment. Just wanted to take a moment and send you the pre-listing packet. So what this will do is it'll allow you to get to know me better, our process, marketing of your home, and all of the things you probably have questions about. And the reason I like to send this before we meet is so that way you have time to review this all, and that way our meeting can be more about your home, what you're looking for, and what you're needing. So this will give you an opportunity to get to know me, my business, and the whole process from start to finish a little bit better before a meeting. When I come, I will bring any comps that are relevant to your home. I will also bring an open mind so you can show me any upgrades or renovations that you've done, and of course, allow you to ask any questions you may have about the process. So there's over 50,000 agents in North Carolina. There's no doubt in my mind that there's other agents that can also present your listing and market it, and in this very booming market, get it sold. What's important to realize is not only do I do 8 times the national sales as the average realtor, but more importantly, I want to develop that rapport. It's very important during this process. This is one of your largest assets you'll ever have, to have someone that not only will communicate with you often, but that will pick up the phone. That's half the battle. So I'm going to be getting phone calls from other agents, from potential buyers, and from you if you have any questions and you need someone you can count on to pick up the phone. I think you'll find that when we talk and in my pre-listing packet, not only will your property be marketed on the typical websites that you would expect, such as MLS and Zillow and Redfin and Realtor and everywhere a buyer's going to look, but in addition, the fact that I'm with eXp Realty, we are an international firm. We are located in 6 continents. And what that means for you is, in addition to all of our local marketing efforts, your home will be seen in all 50 states. It will also be seen international because we have a huge surge of people relocating to our area. Very important we don't miss that market. Very important to have as many offers as possible, or to potential buyers who are looking for a home. That's going to be in your best interest, and it's going to net you the most money for your home. In addition, I think that it's important to note that as part of my listing services, you will receive free professional photography at my expense, as well as professional measurements from an appraiser. The reason this is important is if tax records are wrong with your home measurements. Okay, I'm exhausted watching myself. But anyway, I definitely need to update that because the market is not booming right now, but you get the point. So I give them a good overview and a little information about myself because I certainly do not like to do that in person. It's just not my thing. So they also get this pre-listing packet, which you guys have seen before. I've shared it with you, but it basically outlines information about me, my brokerage, what you do, how to sell with confidence, some of the benefits of having a listing agent, some of the process overview, like what the steps are, pricing considerations, a little data incorporated in there, things to think about when pricing your home, prep for the market, a video on seller tips, and you get the point. So this is what they're going to see. And I like doing this up front because I will tell you, the one thing I hate the most is the idea that I'm going to give this big long speech in front of people. I think I shared with you guys, but I had a mentor that trained me when I first came to the business. And gosh, I loved him, but his personality and style were completely different. I mean, he was the like suit and tie kind of guy, briefcase carrying. And he showed me a listing appointment that he went on, and I was mortified. I thought, I'm in the wrong business. I can't do this, because he comes in and he has a presentation. He has his computer. He sets it up with the people watching this presentation, and he's outlining it. You know, let me tell you about this and this and this. It's like a 30-minute presentation, and there's no way I could do it. So for me, I like to get all of the question stuff out of the way. So by the time I get there, they know about me, they know about my business, they know the general scope of what's about to happen. They know some of my marketing appeal and what things I may do different than other realtors don't. And now I am there just to talk about the house. That's important to me. Like, I want to go in, and then I want us to have good conversation about their house, not about me and my business. Do you guys have strategies you use like that? Like, I'm just curious, like, how many of you feel comfortable with that presentation, or you kind of talk about you and your business? I really am just curious. So if you guys would chime in, I'd love to hear.
I don't want to sit down and do a 30-minute presentation. I would rather send over videos and everything else before I ever get there, and win the listing before I get there.
I gotcha. I gotcha. So when you go in, you're also talking about the house. It's not about yourself.
Yes.
I think it's much easier. Is there anyone here that hasn't done a listing presentation that's kind of worried about the process? So Griselda, you know, you have to find what works for you, but I know we met, and I know that you are a little bit more shy, right? You're more on the shy side. So for you, I think that it might be a really good strategy. So that way, when you're there, you can talk about the house. You don't necessarily have to talk and brag about yourself and your business. Like, to me, that's more intimidating. And I always think that behind their eyes, they're thinking, okay, here we go. I don't want someone to feel that way. So let me go ahead and share through. You guys can see it, right? Okay. So then from there, okay, when you arrive, this is for people like if you've never done it before. I'm sure everyone who has done it, this is kind of how you start, but I always start with a handshake. Hi, I'm Jenifer. Nice to meet you. And I usually say their name, whoever their name is, and I take the lead. So even though it's their home, I want them to know, because remember, as much as we don't know what other agents do when they're in a home listing it, like I always think that, like, I wonder what everybody else does. But I know that they don't know what to expect when you arrive. So it's important, if you're trying to sell them that you're the right agent, then you need to kind of take control. So when I go in and I introduce myself, I say, do you have a good place for me to put my things down? And they usually say, yes, you can put it here or here, wherever. From there, I usually am standing, and I'll address either if it's one person or two people. And I'll say, now that I'm here, let me just kind of tell you what usually happens. Usually I like to start with a home tour if you'll give it to me. I will be taking notes, just so you know. I do that with everybody. And they'll say things like, okay, but the house isn't clean. They all say that. And I say, oh, you mean you live there? And we laugh. And then we go through the home tour. Now, what I'm looking for while I'm going on this home tour is not the pile of laundry on their bed. Like, I'm not looking at that. I'm looking for cleanliness items, such as, like, do baseboards need to be dusted? Like, is there a thick layer of dust on the fan? Like, I'm just kind of glancing for that. And I very much always look at the windows. If the blinds are shut, I'll ask them, do you mind if I just look at the windows? Because I'm looking to see if those seals are broken, or if the window's broken itself. I always look for dirty filters, because most of them have them. In the bathrooms, when they go in, I just flip on the other switch to make sure the air fan works. I also, if they have a pull down, I will go up. You don't have to go all the way in it. But if you go up, I take a very quick video so I can show them that I'm looking to see if it's dry, Is it clean? And can I see sunlight through anywhere? Because that may need to be addressed. I also do the same thing with the crawl space. Okay. I will open the crawl space door and I will take some video, put my head in just to kind of look enough, because all I'm worried about is there a vapor barrier down? Is it dry? That's really what I care about. Is there a bunch of stuff under there that the inspector is going to say needs to be moved? I also look for caulking around tubs and sinks and toilets. I look at the condition of the floors and carpets. Now the bulbs, okay, the bulbs drive me crazy. So I look for any bulbs that are out, but you ever seen someone that like in their bathroom, like they'll have 3 white lights and then they have 1 yellow light? It makes me batty. So I take note of that. And then I go and I get the age of the HVAC, the water heater, the roof, and I look at the appliances and just take the date that they were manufactured. So I have that information. And then generally outside, I'm looking for curb appeal. Now, another big thing is every room I go in, I'm looking for signs of moisture, old moisture spots, right? Any kind of soft wood that's under a window, anything that can alert me that there's some sort of issue going on, or in the bathroom, if that light, the fan is not working and you can see like the black around it from moisture. Now, here's something, Lexi's actually on here, but Lexi created this great pre-list checklist. So I included it on here just for you guys to see, but she made one, it's 3 pages long, and it kind of, for agents that may not be as comfortable in what they're looking for, it's a great checklist of things that you should be looking for as you're going through the house. Okay. So now for the sit down. Okay. So for this, like the next part is once I've done the tour, I'll say, okay, great. Do you have a good place we can sit down? Don't ever sit on the couch. I've made that mistake. It's very awkward and you can't show them what you need to show them. So a table's good. And once I get there, I tell them something good about their house. You have great renovations, or, you have this really cool feature in your house, just something positive. We did that when I was a teacher. We did what's called the Oreo effect. You say something good, you get to the meat of it, and then you end with something good. It's the same thing with a house. It's just like an Oreo. Say something positive, tell them something constructive, and then end with a positive as well. So at this point, I kind of say, now that I've done the tour, I've brought the comps. I know that I sent you an initial range of what I was thinking. I'd like to just show you the comps that I used. They usually say, okay, I usually just bring the paper printout in order from square footage, and I actually take notes on it. Like I'll highlight that this house had a brand new roof, new HVAC, new water heater, or I'll put a note that this house has an encroachment that was noted in agent remarks, just something so they know that I actually paid attention to the comps. Once I give it to them, they kind of put on their glasses and they start looking over it. And then I'll say, listen, I actually printed out some photos from a few of the comps I thought were most similar. So that way you can kind of see inside. So I go ahead and I hand them the MLS sheet with the gallery view. And I only do that for 2 or 3 of the most similar properties. Okay. So that way they can kind of browse. And honestly, I just give them a few minutes. From there, I usually will ask them, what's prompting the move? So I like to ask their motivation and they'll tell you whatever. From there, usually I'll say, now that you've seen the comps that I've had, you've kind of got to see inside of some of the other homes. What are you thinking? Have you guys discussed what price point you'd like to sell in? I never ask them to give me the price because a lot of times they don't want to give it to us. They feel like they want to know what we're going to do. So I just say, what price range were you thinking? And that way I can get a good gauge. From there, I'll tell them what I'm thinking and why based on my comps. So do you guys have this general setup as well when you go into a house for a listing? Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and let me show you. All right, this one I'll just talk about. I made a video for it, but hold on one second. Let me stop sharing screen. Oh, I'm not sharing screen, am I? Good. All right, hold on. Okay, so now at this point, once I'm there, if I know that this person has interviewed like several other agents, right? That's the intimidating thing. So this last listing that I won, it was amazing. I saw the I left the appointment and I said to my husband, I said, I got that listing. I know they've interviewed 4 other agents. I know I got that listing. And that was something that never would have happened. When I started out, like if they had multiple agents, I wasn't winning the listings usually. And so I realized most people don't interview multiple agents, but when you know ahead of time that they have sat down with other agents, they've heard all the same crap, right? We all have the same things, the marketing, where we're listing it, what we can do. It's all the same thing. They asked me a question and they literally said to me, they're like, every agent has said the same thing. Well, I went on to explain what I meant, which was helpful. But just so you guys know, they said, what's your negotiation strategy? What's the first thing you guys would say? I just want to know if this is a thing because they said everyone said the same thing. Come on, guys, share. If someone said to you right now, what's your negotiation strategy?
Well, I would say it would depend on the question, what am I negotiating? I can't just, I need to know what I'm negotiating. I need to know the situation.
I didn't ask for any clarity when they asked. I probably should have. I just thought it was funny. Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you. So I said, what do you mean? I'm a pit bull, just like that. And they said, everybody has said the same thing. And so I went on and I said, listen, I said, honestly, I said, I'm about data. Like I'm a teacher. So for me, I know this neighborhood. I started spouting off facts about their community. I was like, I know that your pool is 4,500 square foot. I know that your community center is 7,400 square feet. And I know that the gym inside of it takes up 3/4 of it. Like I have researched and I'm like, why is this important? Because when people want to negotiate, number one thing they want to negotiate is price. How'd you get to this number? I saw this comp, and, so it's listed a little high. If you know your crap, right? If you have all your facts, now it's not like I tell them, I don't need to negotiate. I have facts. So when somebody says, we felt that the price was too high because this and this, and I say, no, absolutely it wasn't. Let me explain to you. And I start going down with all the data. Like when you list someone's house, I don't care if it's the biggest house or smallest house, you need to know the neighborhood, what's there. You need to know the features in that house. You should memorize all of that because that way there's nothing to negotiate. You've done your homework, you have your data, you're just giving facts. So that's what I told them my style is, and it's true. Like I just need to know everything about your house and the surroundings to sell it. Now, another thing to think about when they have multiple people coming in and they're sitting down with multiple realtors, they've heard the same thing. So I knew that if I wanted to win them over, it was going to be more than charm and them just liking me, right? Like I thought that our vibe was good, but it needs to be more than that. So once I told them all the things and the negotiating strategy, I said, listen, most of the time when people are sitting down with multiple agents, it's because they want more money. They want more money for their house and they want to pay less money, typically is what I find. So I said to them, listen, your house is unique and it is different than the comps in the area. And I said, there's no doubt anybody you hire that's remotely good is going to market your home, right? We're going to do drone photos as well because people don't do that. I use that whole strategy. But I'm like, generally speaking, we're all going to do the same thing. I said, what separates us is you need someone that understands the process. So besides negotiating and me knowing all the facts, you need to think about the fact that your house, you're trying to get the highest dollar amount for. There's going to be an appraiser that comes to your house. You bring 10 appraisers to your house, you're going to get 10 different values for your house. And I can't control that. However, what I can do is I provide an appraisal packet. And the reason I do this is for this reason. A lot of appraisers just come from within the state. They could be from any location and not even know your market. Number two, if they compare your home to other comps, your home is going to come in slightly less price, or actually vastly less price than what you want to list it for. So what I need to do, part of my preparation on your property, is not just to do the marketing, it's also to share those special features with the appraiser that may not know the ins and outs of your property. They're going to do a quick check, but they're not real estate agents. I mean, they do values, but they need to know why this house is so different than the other comps. And so I explained to them that delicate dance that realtors do with appraisers, because we don't want to step on their toes, but we want to provide value so they can at least say, okay, well, I understand that, it has these items in it that's very different from the surrounding, and where her determination of pricing came from. So if you guys aren't making appraisal packets for your properties, and no, I don't think it's necessary for all of them, honestly. I think it's necessary for high price listings, or listings that you're trying to be more aggressive, or listings that are very unique. So at that moment, they both looked at each other and they both went, wow, no other realtor has brought that up. And it's a good point, because years ago, they had an appraisal issue when they were a buyer, and it caused a big mess. And so me explaining that kind of resonated. So overall, my point is, when you're competing against so many other people, you need to find something that sets you apart, or sets you apart as far as what you've told them, because not all realtors will walk them through the process. So I just wanted to share that, because I think that was very helpful in them determining that they wanted to use me as a realtor. So at this point, you win the listing. You guys should be scheduling photos and drone shots and measurements. Do you guys remember Jim McCord, who gave us the tips on expired listings and the drone photos? So I have been using that for all of my last listings. If you don't remember, Bonnie, you'll see it on here, but Jim McCord had a strategy that he used for expireds particularly. I've decided to start using that for all of my houses. So I have houses that were close to downtown. I make sure that my photographer, I tell him, listen, I just need 1 or 2 drone shots. If you'll do 1 or 2, he doesn't even charge me extra for them, because he already has the drone and I'm only asking for 1 or 2. So Jim McCord with expireds, because their home has been seen, he says on Zillow or any of these other sites that people go to, this is a pattern interrupt. When it's just a house, there's a million houses on the page, but when you see one that's at a different angle, such as an aerial, your eye naturally goes to it. So I wouldn't suggest doing this for the first photo on a brand new listing, but I have a listing that is in a more rural area, as you can tell, and it's a slightly higher price point than what is typically in that area. I started this pattern interrupt, and I started measuring the analytics. My views have gone up 3 times on the average day, and I've gotten more clicks just by using that photo. So I started doing this with all of my houses, all of them, because the drone footage is very much a pattern interrupt. Now, I also pay for measurements and obviously photos. So from here, these are resources that I send out prior to a listing going live. So I just wanted to share them, and they are clickable so you guys can see. So I have this guide that you guys will get, but basically it shows them things to keep in mind prior to photo day. So I send this out to make sure that they clear their countertops, they clean their microwaves, everything is going to be looked at by a buyer. And it's just helpful tips. So when you get to the house for photo day, which by the way, you should all be going to the house for photo day. I don't know if you do, but toilet seats being down, all the lights being on, your photographer is great, but they don't have an eye like most realtors. So make sure you're there. You can move the cars, move the trash cans from, room to room. I always do that. So I would recommend everybody going to the photo shoot. Then I also send them, this is something you guys shared during our resource share, but I always sent them some sort of moving checklist so that they kind of, remember as things get closer, like to change their address. But this is a great guide that I will send out, and that way I'm keeping in touch with them prior to the listing. This is another goodie that Lexi actually made for our team quite a while ago, but this is a utility list. You want to know all the utility information, and then a showing checklist, which is important. How should they leave their house before a showing? You know, what needs to be done? You know, make sure the lights are left off, you know, or left on, and like make sure that it's cleaned up. People don't want to see you living life. Like they're looking for a product. So anyway, that is pretty much the gist of what I wanted to share. And then of course I have links for more help and things like that. But I thought maybe it would be helpful to someone because I've had this exorbitant increase in listings, that maybe one of these strategies I picked up is doing the trick. I don't know, but I just thought I needed to share. Do you guys have any thoughts or questions about moving forward with listings?
I think Griselda's speaking, but she's on mute.
Oh. No, can't hear you. How many of you are going to try that? Doesn't make sense.
I
I
am.
think you gave a lot of excellent tips, and it's worth going back and just reviewing our own marketing strategies that we use for listing presentations and making some changes here and there. But you shared a lot of excellent golden nuggets. I did want to ask you about your appraisal packet. How do
Yes.
you go about creating one?
So my appraisal packet, I use this binder. I give it to the homeowners and I tell them, hide this until I tell you it's time to take it out. But I start with just a white 3-ring binder. In the front cover, I just put appraisal info and I have the picture of the house. So then inside, I have the list of features, right? And then on the other side, I show the comps that I used, why I used them, and what separates the home. So the whole thing, I also put it in the clear, what do you call them? You know what I'm talking about. The clear pockets, right? And it
The
might only,
Protectors.
yeah, the sheet protectors. And I do like 3 or 4 pages, but it says for the appraisal. So I let them know that when the appraiser schedules through showing time or whatever service you guys have. Oh, did my camera just stop? Let's try that again. Let me unplug. Hold on. So, yeah, basically I tell them that, what in the world? Technology. Ha. If not, I'll use my computer one. Hold on. Let me try. All right, so I'm on this computer now. Now you can see my cat tree. I try to hide that. Anyway, so at that point, I tell them, listen, you're going to get a showing request from an appraisal, okay, for an appraisal. When you see that request and you approve it, before they come into your home, I want you to put this on your kitchen counter and stand it up. That way they see it. Then I also, at the same time, I get the number from the appraiser. Now, you're not supposed to really contact them unless they contact you. I just send a text. Hi, this is so-and-so. I'm the listing agent with 123 ABC Street. Thanks so much for doing the appraisal. I just wanted to let you know, I do have a little appraisal packet. If you would take a glance at it, I would, greatly appreciate it. And I keep it very simple, but that's my approach. Any other
Okay,
questions?
thank you for sharing, Jenifer.
You're welcome, Isabel.
So when you go to the listing presentation, the only thing that you're carrying is that the CMA, or is anything else that you're carrying with you?
No, I keep it simple. I bring my book bag. My book bag has my computer in case they want to look at some comps, or sometimes they'll say, oh, but what about this in this house? And so I'll look it up with them. I always bring the paperwork, right? But usually the way the
Yeah.
conversation goes with the paperwork is I say, listen, I'd like to review this with you just so you can see what it looks like, what the information is, so you feel comfortable with it. And then from there, I say, listen, we can sign this here, Or if you feel more comfortable, I can send it to you digitally. But here's the trick. Right before I walk in the door to any home listing, I, on my phone, have already sent out the digital signatures for all the paperwork. I go ahead and then I open my email, I sign my portion of the documents, so it sends it to them. So that way I know they're not going to see it before I walk in because I'm about to walk in. But what I tell them is, listen, I sent you all the paperwork digitally. If you'd like, I can review it with you here, and then you can decide if you want to sign it in person or if you prefer it to be sent and signed digitally. And then from there, I review the paperwork. But other than that, other than a few of these MLS sheets and a list of comps and my normal paperwork that we share with our clients, no, I don't leave anything for them except the comps that I've used. And I keep other things that I would be putting in a notebook. Like I use list reports. Have you guys used list reports? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So with list reports, I have all those pretty things that I like to include, like, how many restaurants are nearby, what's nearby, and I show them that, but I don't let them keep that. And they never ask. So like I put it back in my notebook and I leave them with the comps and the paperwork. Okay. Like the paperwork that they're going to sign. That way they can still review it, but everything has my name on it, obviously. So I can tell them that, we can sign it now. You can sign it later. I can come pick it up, or you could sign it digitally. But that's all I bring.
When do you
Okay, thank
do
you.
the seller disclosures?
The seller disclosure sheet. Yeah. So that document, in North Carolina, we have these two really annoying documents. They're property disclosures, but they're like a million check marks. So it's not very conducive to sending it digitally. You can, but it's more difficult. So I usually print those two required checklists. I kind of go over how to fill it out. I always start off with, listen, a lawyer will tell you to put no representation for everything. However, buyers don't like that because you live here. So any information that you'd like to share that you know about the house, you just have to be truthful. So if you know that there's something that's not working properly or malfunctioning, be sure to note that. And I go over all of that, but I do leave those two documents. And then I ask them to either scan it in for me at that point, or I tell them that I can swing by and pick it up prior to listing. Griselda, did you have a question or are you still muted? No, no, can't hear you. All right, well, this was a lot of fun, and I hope you guys benefit from the guide. I'm going to send it all to you, and that way we can just kind of grow our strategies together. But those things have really taken off my business on the listing side. So hopefully it'll give you as much success. And if so, please share it in Work It Wednesday so I can see if you guys got any responses from the does it make sense? All right, guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday. Carrie, feel better thinking about you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Bye.
Bye.